And I'm for electric cars. I have to be, because Elon endorsed me very strongly, Elon. So I have no choice. But he knows. No, I am for him. I'm for him for a small slice is a slice. But you want to have gas-propelled cars. You want to have hybrids. You want to have every kind of a car imaginable. They want to go all electric. And there's no way you can ever load them up. They call them loading them. You can't load them. We're going to have to spend $9 trillion in the Middle West. You saw they built chargers. Now, a charger is a gas pump with electricity come through it.
Oh, in case you guys didn't know that, there you have it. Trump just reminded all of us who really is in charge of this country. And surprise, it is the billionaires. Elon Musk, who has become known for his right-wing rhetoric and his support, is backing Trump in the 2024 election. And with that endorsement from Musk, Trump, the guy who once wanted to bring back coal, has changed his tune on electric vehicles. Here he is speaking during a rally back in 2022.
A friend of mine wanted to do something for the environment. He went out and bought an electric car. And he made a certain trip, I won't say from where, Kentucky. I won't say from where. And he's a good person. He wants to do what's well. Now he understands, not so good. And he bought an electric car, and he made the trip often from Kentucky to Washington, and he made it, and he'd drive down and put the car away and drive back. And he called me, he said, I'm exhausted. Why? He said, this damn trip took me forever. I'd drive for 2 hours and then I'd have to have my car charged. And in 2 cases, I couldn't find a place to charge it, but even if I could, it took me more time to charge the damn car than I could spend in it driving. He said it took me 2.5 times. Please, let's get rid of this stuff.
All right, well, there's more that we're going to get to the Democrats, but Cenk, this is such a blatant example of everything that people don't like about money in politics, especially concerning billionaires. And here it is coming, ironically, from a billionaire. What do you think about this?
Yeah, look, guys, for the rest of you, it's super obvious. That's why every once in a while I address MAGA, right? MAGA, did you hear what he just said? He said, because I have to be. Now he says, you saw him say that he was totally against electric cars. Now he's saying he's for electric cars. Because, quote, he has to be. He said, quote, I have no choice. Why? Because Elon Musk endorsed me strongly. Now, he doesn't mean that Elon Musk used strong words while endorsing him. He means the brother's giving me a lot of money. You give me money, I give you American policy. I don't care about American policy. The average American, electric cars are good for them, bad for them. I don't care. If you're a donor, you bribe me, I give you policy. You heard it with your own eyes. Go ahead, make excuses. Well, I mean, he didn't say, well, he did no choice. What does no choice mean? I mean, maybe because he really likes Elon Musk. Maybe he just switched his mind right at the same exact time that he got the money. I mean, look, we don't know how much the money is, but they're talking about potentially as much as $45 million a month for the next 4 months. $180 million. I don't know that that's going to be the final number. And Elon Musk is also a giant liar, right? But you're telling me, if you're a MAGA, Trump happened to change his mind about electric vehicles at the same exact time that Elon Musk started donating millions and millions of dollars to his campaign? You don't believe that. So what happened to draining the swamp? And you can't even believe that because he told you, I have no choice, I have to do it. He said it, right? What happened to draining the swamp? Nah. All he is another paid bitch. That's all he ever was. That's all he is. Oh, where's the money? He's always been a money grubber, right? Do you know that he once had homeless veterans kicked out from in front of Trump Towers because he thought it made the building look cheaper to have those veterans lying around? Okay, but it doesn't matter. I know nothing matters to you. He's your God King Jesus, right? If it was Trump versus Jesus, you'd probably vote for Trump. But he's a crook. And he just told you he's a crook. And by the way, we're fair. We're going to get to the Democrats in a second. But I don't want you guys pretending that this guy's nothing but a crook. And then also, look, guys, how much irrationality and dumbassness can you take? Yeah, I just invented an awesome word called dumbassness. Okay, so he says about the Middle West. By the way, who calls it the Middle West? If John Kerry had called it the Middle West, they'd be like, oh, look at this rich guy from Boston. It's the Midwest. I'll soften it and say jerk, right? If Biden had said that, anybody had said that, but I mean, this guy doesn't know anything. Those charging units that he said cost $9 billion, you wanna know how much they cost? They cost about $10 million. 10 million versus 9 billion. He just pulls things out of his ass. In the last 3 rallies, he said, in order to do charging stations across the country. In one rally, he said it'll cost $2 trillion. Totally made up number. That's okay though, because in the next rally, he said 5 trillion. Wait, is it 2 or 5? In the next rally, he said 9 trillion. He's like Dr. Evil. He's just making things up on the spot. It's so obvious, unless you're in a cult and you're blinded and you're like, I hate the establishment. He's against the establishment. Okay, no matter what he says, no matter how maniacal, I'm gonna support him. No matter how corrupt he is, no matter how much he fills the swamp, I'm gonna support him. Those are the only guys left. By the end of the election, that'll be it. And if I was gonna say if he keeps going this way, but he can't help himself. So he will keep going that way. And he went from favorite to now he might get slaughtered. I mean, because his corruption is so obvious now. Remember when he went to the oil executives and said, give me $1 billion and I'll give you whatever you want. I'll give you tax cuts, I'll give you deregulation, I'll let you drill anywhere you like. I mean, it's open bribery. Remember how he was 100% against TikTok and wanted to ban? In fact, he actually took actions as president to try to ban TikTok. Jeff Yaz, one of the top owners of TikTok, gave him a couple of $1 million and boom, he switched his position on TikTok. Again, coincidentally, at the same exact time that the check cleared. If you believe that Donald Trump is an honest man and doesn't care about the bribes he's getting, you're hilarious, hilarious. All right, Yaz, tell us about the Democrats.
Yeah, so as we said, this is not just a problem on the Republican side. Everyone knows that Trump can be bought, but what about Kamala Harris? Reid Hoffman is a Silicon Valley tech billionaire. He was actually born in Palo Alto, California. He's perhaps best known for co-founding LinkedIn, but he's worked with or invested in a lot of companies like Apple, AOL, PayPal, OpenAI, Microsoft, and more. While his tech colleague, Elon Musk, is donating millions of dollars to Trump's campaign, Hoffman sits on the other side of the aisle donating big to the Harris campaign. But when he does it, it's not so bad, or that's what he would like you to believe. Hoffman came under fire when, after it was announced that he had donated millions of dollars to Harris, he also stated publicly that he would like to see President Harris replace Lina Khan as the head of the Federal Trade Commission. Khan is notoriously antitrust, so she's not terribly popular amongst wannabe monopolists. So Senator Bernie Sanders called Hoffman out for this publicly in a tweet, saying this: "Here is why we have to overturn Citizens United and end big money in politics. Billionaire Reid Hoffman donated $7 million to the Harris campaign. Now he wants her as president to fire an outstanding member of the Biden administration, FTC chair Lina Khan. Not acceptable." So first, here is how Hoffman feels about Lina Khan. This is from an interview he did with CNN's Matt Egan.
I do think that Lina Khan is a person who is not helping America in her job and what she's doing, and so I would hope that Vice President Harris would replace her.
So here now is Hoffman talking to Jake Tapper, attempting to explain why it's not as quid pro quo as it all seems.
What do you say to somebody who watches this and says, this isn't how American politics should work, rich people getting to buy levels of influence?
Well, I totally agree with not buying levels of influence. I separate my role as a donor and expert. So if you ask me as a donor, I say I'm giving money to Kamala Harris because I think she's the best future president for the US, for business, for a bunch of other things. If you ask me as an expert about what kind of Lina Khan is doing and whether I think she is helping or hurting America relative to your anti-merger policies, which are mostly to bring litigation, versus really solidly grounded in kind of what's going on and what helps American business thrive here and overseas, then I give an expert opinion. But I think donor and expert should be kept separate, and I've never tied the two ever in any conversation anywhere I've ever had.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
Okay, we're gonna get to Jake Tapper pushing back a little bit, but Cenk, do you have something to add here?
Yeah, I gave $7 million and then I said I want Lena Khan fired. But don't worry, that was 2 different Reid Hoffmans. Okay, guys,
Yeah.
It's open auction. They're just buying our politicians. And Jake Tapper actually did a pretty good job, which is a little bit shocking. So let's hear that.
You sit on the board of Microsoft, and that, of course, is a company that has multiple FTC run-ins. Right now, there's an open FTC investigation into whether Microsoft structured one of its deals with your startup, Inflection AI, in order to avoid a government review. That's according to reporting from both CNN and the Wall Street Journal. You're donating millions to Harris while publicly stating you hope she replaces the FTC head who is leading that very investigation. Doesn't that create an inherent conflict?
Well, let me talk about it as a venture capitalist, because I never talk about these things as a board member.
Okay, so for those of you keeping track at home now, Reid Hoffman is a donor, he's an expert, he's a venture capitalist, and he's a board member. He would like you to believe that even though all of those things exist within the one Reid Hoffman, who happens to be an incredibly wealthy and influential venture capitalist, they're actually separate beings, and he would appreciate it if you would treat them all as such. And as Jake Tapper pointed out, that's impossible to do, and it's kind of a goofy suggestion. Anyway, as this interview went a little viral, Hoffman decided to clarify his position in a very long post on X. It was over 1,000 words. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but he did say this. For my own part, I want to make it very clear that I've never spoken with Vice President Harris about Lena Khan or even about the FTC generally. I've never demanded, nor would I ever presume to demand, that Vice President Harris fire Lena Khan if she becomes president. I will, however, continue to support Vice President Harris in her campaign for presidency, regardless of what views or opinions she expresses about Lena Khan or the FTC. So I kind of get what he's saying here. He wants to donate to his favorite political candidate, and he happens to have a ton of money to be able to do so. And he may not have gone specifically to Kamala Harris asking her for this or that, but he did go on national television identifying himself as a Harris donor. And he said what he personally would like to see from a Kamala Harris presidency. So, Cenk, do you think it's possible to separate the donor from the expert as Reid Hoffman is trying to do here?
Yeah, look, I get it. And I wear a lot of hats too. And so sometimes I'll speak as an analyst and tell you, hey guys, this is not what I want. This is what I think is going to happen. And other times I'll tell you this is what I want and this is what progressives should want in my opinion, et cetera. So if anybody would understand, I would understand. Having said that, there's just too many Reid Hoffmans. And Jake Tapper did point that out in the whole interview. He's like, am I talking to the venture capitalist Reid Hoffman? Am I talking to the donor Reid Hoffman? Am I talking to the board member Reid Hoffman? Which Reid Hoffman am I talking to? So that's a very fair point. And Reid Hoffman says, I never spoke to Kamala Harris about this at all. I just said it on national TV. Brother, I don't know that there's much of a difference there. And so look, the only thing I could give Kamala Harris is that she at least has the decency not to admit it. But if you want, you could give Trump credit for being not bright enough to say it out loud, right? Depending on how you take it. But Trump's like, yeah, well, of course I had to change my position on American policy because I don't care about policy and I don't care about the average American. That guy gave me a lot of money. He gave me a strong endorsement. So I had no choice because I'm corrupt, right? Kamala Harris and the Democratic donors go, oh, did that check clear at the same time? Huh, okay, well, hey, look, we're not saying anything other than what we're saying on air. But other than that, we're not saying anything. No, they're saying something. They're definitely saying something. And guys, whether it's AIPAC or it's Big Pharma or it's Rando tech billionaire or it's the oil companies or it's Elon Musk, they're all buying our politicians. We have legalized bribery in this country. It's called campaign contributions. All the donors control our politicians nearly 100%. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.